Swinburne podcasts. The academic procession is about to enter the hall. Would you please stand? Please remain standing for the national anthem. The words are on the inside back of your program. Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the presiding officer of today's ceremony, Dr. Stephen van der Meij, Councillor of Swinburne University of Technology.
Members of the University Council, members of staff, distinguished guests, graduands, ladies and gentlemen. It is with pleasure that I welcome you all to this graduation and award conferral ceremony, which acknowledges the achievements of so many of you and which represents a significant step in the process of lifelong learning. As a mark of respect to Australia's Indigenous people, Swinburne University of Technology acknowledges the Wurundjeri people as the traditional custodians of the land where we now meet to conduct this ceremony. On the occasion of this ceremony, the Council and staff wish to share their pride and congratulations with the graduands on their achievement. For all of us, this ceremony is a very special occasion. For the graduands, it means the culmination of years of study, hard work and achievement. For the parents, families and friends of the graduands, it means that all the sacrifices you have made and the support you have provided have finally been rewarded. I'm sure you feel a great sense of pride and happiness in seeing your friend or family member succeed. We are very pleased that so many of you have been able to attend and make this such a special occasion. For the teaching and administrative staff of the university, there is enormous satisfaction in seeing our students successfully complete their studies. This is also an important occasion for the university. Swinburne prides itself in the quality of the teaching and the learning it provides. This wonderful celebration gives public recognition of Swinburne's ongoing commitment to provide our students with a range of educational qualifications. These qualifications will assist them in making an ongoing contribution to their chosen profession and to their particular community. Swinburne is committed to being a nationally and internationally recognised institution, where our programs are relevant to the world community as well as to Australia. We are committed to this goal because increasingly our graduands are required to work outside Australia and establish successful international careers. I now call upon Associate Professor Norman Sheehan from the Faculty of Design to address today's graduands.
Distinguished members of the Swinburne University Council, fellow academics, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and graduates. I'd like, before I talk, to give all honour and respect to the Wurundjeri people, my people, and to the Wurundjeri people, the owners of this land. where we meet. My area of expertise is the area of culture. I teach cross-cultural studies, have done for many years, and my first research project 20 years ago was in a remote Aboriginal community that's about 160 kilometres from Melbourne, a place called Cape Barren Island in Bass Strait. That research produced no papers, it produced no written works at all. In fact, it was research into women's culture on those islands. So through the whole research project, I was 100 metres away and upwind from the women, saw nothing and heard nothing. And the research went ahead. And you might wonder how you can conduct research like that. The very first meeting we had with museums looking at the work these people were doing, the cultural strength of their work was verified because men were excluded. The cultural veracity of the work was verified because the women owned the knowledge and protected it. From those first 3 women, there's a whole movement in the arts and crafts in Aboriginal communities in Tasmania as a result. And that result is probably the best thing that I could think of as an outcome for research. When we look at what we're doing in a place like this, particularly tonight, we're enmeshed in culture. You can tell cultural things are happening. We all wear funny clothes, we parade, we stand up, and we do strange things, like stand in front of a lot of people and talk. Things that most people would rather die than do. When you look at what culture does and what culture is, it's a strange thing that we really don't know what it is. Culture is not well defined anywhere in the literature. Culture is something that we might call as practices and traditions like tonight, but it's more than that. Each of us is born into a culture. It predates all of us, and it survives after we go. Some theorists call culture a third party that exists in shared space, that we engage with so that we can communicate with significance. Culture brings meaning to us, yet we still really don't know what it is. I think I got to the position I am now at Swinburne because a lot of years ago I started to ask really dumb questions like, what is culture? And tried to teach my students how to engage in culture. If you look at deeper meanings for culture in writings of people in areas like social emotional well-being, you find that culture is essential to the well-beings of people. If you have a culture and a cultural wellness, your communities thrive. And people have tried to describe cultural wellness. And this cultural wellness is quite often described as valuing diversity. Those communities that are most culturally well are diverse and value cultural difference. Very much in the same way as a farmer these days might value biological diversity. Cultural diversity encapsulates a cultural well society. And tonight, looking at the graduates, I can see that there's diversity here. The other side of this is that cultures can be ill. Cultures that want to keep themselves separate from others and fear difference are actually the cause of most of the harm in the world. Areas of medical anthropology and social epidemiology will look at cultural illness and say places where cultures dominate each other are the sickest, most disease and war-ravaged places on earth. So culture is a key thing for a place like this university. It's also a key thing for graduates, because tonight you enter into the academy in different ways. One of the things that is happening in the world as far as culture goes is that ideas of cultural innovation are starting to arise. And for designers in particular, that means no longer producing products just for the sake of producing wealth. Products are becoming more contextually relevant. So the things we make have to relate to the environment more, they have to relate to the society more. And that's cultural change. It's a huge cultural shift that's gathering momentum, I believe. And in that sense, the culture of the Western world is attempting to change itself and become more reflexive and responsive to the environment. From my crazy point of view, I see that as this culture attempting to become more indigenous, more related to the earth, more related among fellows. One of the lessons that you get from cultural strength is the idea of cultural resilience, how a people who are culturally strong survive and continue. And I think that's the strongest message that comes from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in Australia, that we survive, and all the things that we do, if you listen to our words, we are working almost constantly towards cultural well-being. We're not causing conflict, exploding bombs, doing violent things. What we tend to do, particularly our leaders tend to do, is argue for cultural strengths, for the strengths of diversity. In many areas, I call this a type of social design, where societies learn to harness that value and creativity of difference. So tonight is your night to celebrate. I hope I haven't bored you too much. I hope you celebrate well and safely, and I congratulate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for your insightful comments to our graduands today. I'd now like to call upon Ms Jan McAdam, the Associate Director of Client Services, to verify that the graduands listed in the program are eligible to receive their awards.
Councillor, I have the honour to inform you that in accordance with Statute 13 of Swinburne University of Technology, the graduands who will be presented at this ceremony or who have applied to have their award confirmed in absentia have fulfilled the conditions prescribed and are entitled to the award of bachelor degree, graduate diploma, postgraduate diploma, master's degree, professional doctorate and Doctor of Philosophy, as appropriate, of Swinburne University of Technology.
Would all the graduands please stand for the conferral of awards? Thank you. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Council of Swinburne University of Technology, I admit the duly authorised graduands here present and in absentia to the appropriate awards and to the rights and privileges of those awards. Congratulations. Please be seated. I would now like to call upon Dr. Carolyn Barnes, the Senior Research Fellow of the Faculty of Design, to present her graduates.
Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the graduates on whom you have conferred an award. For the Bachelor of Design in Communication Design, Robert Francis Collins. Jessica Louise De Silva. Christopher William Downey. Cynthia Drosinis. Megan Claire Kenny. Lindsay Meredith McKay. Fiona Marie Miras. Benjamin Naismith. Brooke Rebecca Nankin. Milicia Parcheveski. Annalise Jane Redlick. Im Sophie Skagg. For the Bachelor of Design in Industrial Design, Justin Allen Angara. Jordan Michael Demkew. Cameron James Ferry. James Bernard Kavanagh. Zulian Julian Coe. Ji Guan Liu. Luke Saxon. Adriano Matteo Toniolo. Georgia Margaret Young. For the Bachelor of Design in Interior Design, Ardita Bajar Tarevchik. Xiao Chen. Lisa Ann Formigan. Richa Garg. Kylie Kathleen Gilbert. Samantha Jade Harberger. Ara Coeli Hernando. Dilek Kiruk. Rosalie Rippon Liffman. Sophia Milloy. Kira Richards. Janelle Louise Sale. Tian Yong Tan. Christopher Quet Leong Tu Yok. Clarissa Vanya Wibowo. For the Bachelor of Design in Multimedia Design, Reef Ali Campling. Belinda Julianne Galea. Kelly Elizabeth Griffith. Khairul Akmal Johari. John Levan Lamb. Samuel Christopher Pettygrove. Oliver Andrew Sansom. Mario Yanakakis. For the Bachelor of Film and Television, Laura Jane Carroll. Mark Fulton. Joanna Rose Ingram. Sasha Renee Kana. For the Bachelor of Design in Honours in Communication Design, Daniel Thomas Evans. Carla Leanne McKee. Jackson Mussett. For the Bachelor of Design in Honours in Industrial Design, Matthew David Blythman. For the Bachelor of Design in Honours in Multimedia Design, Jivon Shigeo Wong. For the Graduate Diploma of Design, Yasanga Bandara Wijakun Atapatu Wijakun. For the Master of Design in Industrial Design, Chu Say Leong Melvin. For the Master of Design in Interior Design, Hua Shi. Penigran Yura Mohammed Jeffrey Penigran Haji Yura Halim. Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the graduate on whom you have conferred the degree of doctorate. For the Doctorate of Philosophy, Lucy Allnut. Dr. Allnutt's thesis title is The Design of Indoor Furniture for Export Markets from Queensland Hardwood Timbers. Dr. Allnutt's project was conducted through the Cooperative Research Centre for Wood Innovations and initialised during a stint at the Queensland Forestry Research Institute. Spending time at the Scientific Institute not only gave Dr. Allnutt a fundamental understanding of the timber materials in question, specific to that geographic region, but also access to knowledge from local manufacturers. The market research and design phase of the project involved the development and production of furniture prototypes which were exhibited in Tokyo and Milan. The comparative data and conclusions gathered through Dr. Allnutt's research provided valuable information to designers and to the furniture industry. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Lucy Allnutt for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Well done. Councillor, that concludes the awards for the Faculty of Design. I now call upon Dr. Russell Crawford, the Dean of the Faculty of Life and Social Sciences, to present his graduates.
Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the graduates on whom you have conferred an award. For the Bachelor of Arts, Nadia Ann Draga. Tansy Louisa Goldsmith. Laura Armida Pascolo. For the Bachelor of Arts in Games and Interactivity, Melvin Chan. Nathan John Coombs. Daniel Francis Lloyd. For the Bachelor of Arts in Media and Communications, Audrey Bugia. Claire Louise Duncan. Amy Patricia Freeman. Alicia Ann Johnson. Noreen Maria Muhammad Kiri. Farzana Mosluhuddin. Emma Kate Norris. Timothy Barton Palmer. Vicky Ann Smith. Tiffany Jane Suhan. Jamie Jean Waterhouse. For the Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Psychophysiology, Thomas Emmett Ellenby. Claire Fiona Sharkey. For the Bachelor of Health Science in Public and Environmental Health, Jeddah Lily Tompkins. For the Bachelor of Multimedia, Zheng Rong Chi. Christian Casey Renee Cummins. Kwan Wah Lee. Henny Chandra Chen. Meng Han Wang. For the Bachelor of Multimedia in Business Marketing, James Briscoe. Kristen Louise Groom. Andrew Horace John Katopidis. Carolyn Elizabeth Leonard. Mindy Chang Linway. Robert Matthew Lloyd. Paul Pezzano. Megan Simmons. Jessica Megan Stone. Sarah Louise Symes. William Tarr. Katrina Bianca Tesoro. Ha Trang Tran. Lauren Van Hultren. Vicky Wijaya. For the Bachelor of Multimedia in Games and Interactivity and Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Software Engineering, Peter David Jarvis. Chara Lambos Kaloyiru. Sean Walsh. For the Bachelor of Multimedia in Media Studies, Rachel Louise Berwick. Alexander Michael House. For the Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences, Nora Mustafa Bekhit. Natia Catherine De Monte. Sumudu Watsala Hewawasam. Devani Samangika Horiyam Ula Lianaga. Aisha Pakran Sparks. Adam Colin Wells. For the Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology, Alexander James Haynes. For the Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology and Bachelor of Arts in Media and Communications, Justin Chen. For the Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology, Biochemistry and Bachelor of Business, Eva Christina Winberg. For the Bachelor of Science in Psychology, Psychophysiology, Michelle Harper. Lauren Elise Hartigan. Kimberly Ann Huynh. Sari Sophia Lim. Adam James Potter. For the Bachelor of Social Science, Diana Brenda Bell. Alfio John Mendola. James Philip John Simos. Candice Lee Walmering. For the Bachelor of Social Science in Psychology, William James Dolly. Diane Rosemary Heaton. Anthony Aquila Moore. Cristia Teresa Grace Romero. For the Bachelor of Arts in Honours, Gina Louise Bennett. For the Bachelor of Science in Honours in Biotechnology Biochemistry, Elisa Jane Hayhoe. For the Graduate Diploma of Arts in Commercial Radio, Michael Leon Schmering. For the Graduate Diploma of Arts in Media and Communications, Shakira Leah Silvestri. For the Graduate Diploma of Multimedia, Rachel Miranda Jones. For the Postgraduate Diploma of Psychology, Kathleen Jean Cator. Kate Margaret Fitzgerald. Felicia Shi Hui Neo. Robin Melissa Orford. For the Master of Arts by Research, Samuel Keith Duncan. For the Master of Multimedia, Michelle Caparelli. Craig Brian O'Hagan. Nicholas Paul Peters. Philip Dominic Quealy. For the Master of Multimedia Technology, Tucci Karanja Waiyaki. For the Master of Psychology in Clinical Psychology, Fiona Lee Lang. For the Master of Psychology in Counselling Psychology, Robin Elizabeth Ansell. David Christian Greer-Smith. Robert Donald McKinnon. Pamela Helen Newman. Kelly Amber O'Leary. For the Master of Science in Biotechnology, Piyush Bagda. Shanti Safrina Maria Monica Joseph. Gayatri Mahil. Pradeep Raja Sekha. Zarina Rasul Shaikh. Nikki Dibankuma Seth. Emerald Belinda Sharmine Sorrell. Surbhi Suan. For the Master of Science in Good Manufacturing Practices, Nadika Dilshan De Silva Maliawadu. Ashaben Ashish Kumar Patel. Bhavish Kumar Hasamukh Lal Patel. Divya Pankaj Shah. Dashana Maganlal Viparia. For the Master of Science in Honours in Good Manufacturing Practices, J. Rasiklal Mamtora. Romit Singh. Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the graduate on whom you have conferred the degree of doctorate. For the Doctor of Psychology in Counselling Psychology, Marianne Coulter. The title of Dr. Coulter's thesis is An Exploratory Investigation of Key Clinical and Neuropsychological Characteristics in Children and Adolescents with Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder and/or Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder. Dr. Coulter's thesis investigated key demographic, clinical and neuropsychological profiles of children and adolescents with a diagnosis of ADHD and/or OCD compared with healthy control children. From a clinical standpoint, the accurate identification of each condition will lead to better targeted assessment, diagnosis and psychological and medication treatments for children and adolescents suffering from ADHD or OCD. From a scientific viewpoint, systematic investigation of comorbid ADHD or OCD will aid identification of this unique group through clinical and neuropsychological markers. These unique markers can help facilitate research that enhances understanding of the etiology, onset, course outcomes and treatment responsiveness of these conditions. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Marianne Coulter for the degree of Doctor of Psychology in Counselling Psychology. Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the next graduate on whom you have conferred the degree of doctorate, Diana Christine White. The title of Dr. White's thesis is The Impact of Demographic Characteristics, Personality Variables, Beliefs about the Causes of Crime and Fear of Crime on Attitudes towards Sentencing Goals. Sentencing is a highly public issue, often characterised by competing perspectives about the criminal justice system. Dr. White's thesis examined the relative importance of a number of variables as predictors of attitudes towards the contrasting sentencing goals of punishment versus rehabilitation. Results confirmed the influence of level of education and authoritarian attitudes and beliefs about the causes of crime as determinants of more punitive attitudes towards sentencing. The research also highlighted the importance of moving beyond perceiving punishment and rehabilitation in oppositional terms to considering the manner in which these two dimensions interact to produce separate community groups. Considering retributive and rehabilitative beliefs together may be an important step towards promoting reform in the criminal justice system. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Diana Christine White for the degree of Doctor of Psychology in Counselling Psychology. Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the next graduate on whom you have conferred the degree of doctorate. For the Doctor of Philosophy, Gordon David Bussell. The title of Dr. Bussell's thesis is Fungal Bioabsorption of Metal Ions. The widespread global contamination by heavy metals is of concern to both environmental and public health. Heavy metals are intractable and cannot be destroyed. However, they can be isolated, treated and either stored or reused. The first step in this process is to remove the metal ion from the environment or industrial waste, and bioabsorption is fast becoming the method of choice. Dr. Bussell has shown in this thesis that fungal biomass, particularly that from Mucor ruxii, is very efficient and effective bioabsorbing substrate. He has further shown that the amount of absorption can be predicted and thus controlled using complex chemical modelling procedures. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Gordon David Bussell for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the next graduate on whom you have conferred the degree of doctorate. Ekaniyaka Mudiyansalagi Sarath Ekaniyaka. I will admit that Sarath did coach me on that one before coming up. The title of Dr. Ekaniyaka's thesis is Characteristics of Particles Contributing to Turbidity in Potable Water Distribution Networks. Melbourne's water supply is one of the best in the world due to its pristine and protected catchment areas. However, with fire and drought, that quality is increasingly under threat. As Melbourne does not currently need to filter its water supply, there is an increased potential for particles to enter our drinking water and drinking system and cause turbidity. Dr. Ekaniyaka has addressed the issue of turbidity in Melbourne's drinking water, its origins, likelihood of occurrence and risks to drinking water quality. Dr. Akaniaka has shown that particles found in Melbourne's drinking water almost certainly originate from the source water but do not currently pose a serious threat to Melbourne's water quality. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Akaniaka Murian Selagi Sarath Akaniaka for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. And thank you for your help. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Aaron Guy Gosling for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. The title of Dr. Gosling's thesis is Biocatalytic Transformation of Vanillin to 3-carboxymucinate. The vast majority of chemicals are derived from crude oil. To make chemical manufacture sustainable, technology needs to be developed to efficiently convert renewable material into commodity chemicals. Dr. Gosling's thesis describes research that was undertaken towards this goal. The enzymes from a soil microbe, the Acinetobacter bailii, that modify vanillin derived from plant matter were cloned, purified and characterised. The genes encoding these enzymes were then assembled within a recombinant Escherichia coli, and the engineered cells used as catalysts to convert vanillin to 3-carboxymucinate. The ability of this product to be used as a building block for polymers was demonstrated. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Aaron Guy Gosling for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the next graduate on whom you have conferred the degree of doctorate, Sophia Belicki Holmes. The title of Dr. Holmes's thesis is On the Nature of Expertise in Family Therapy. Family therapy is known to be a highly effective intervention when delivered by elite practitioners. However, little was known of what contributed to the therapist's consistent effectiveness. This groundbreaking research explored the complex phenomena of expertise using 2 in-depth studies that examined and compared novice and elite practice in complex and straightforward cases. The findings identified the habits of mind associated with elite practice. These were clearly grouped into 3 distinct forms of expertise in family therapy: a relational emotional expertise, clinical expertise, and reflective practices. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Sophia Belicki Holmes for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the next graduate on whom you have conferred the degree of doctorate, Karen Lingard. The title of Dr. Lingard's thesis is Nature, Consciousness and Feeling, the Therapeutic Potential of Process Philosophy. Dr. Lingard's thesis uses process philosophy as the basis for an interdisciplinary study of natural processes, including the development of consciousness. It presents a unique view of the causal relationships between human emotion, feeling, thought, and the events that occur in the lives of individuals. This theory offers a way of understanding change, specifically in relation to healing and therapy, that moves beyond some of the limitations of psychology. It responds to a genuine need in contemporary Western culture for theory to underpin the broad range of New Age and self-help therapies that many people engage with, and can contribute to the evaluation and development of these therapies. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Karen Lingard for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Councillor, I have the honour to present to you the next graduate on whom you have conferred the degree of doctorate, Tracy Varker. The title of Dr. Varka's thesis is The Prevention of Trauma Reactions. Dr. Varka's thesis comprised 3 separate studies around the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. Study 1 examined the shortcomings of current psychological debriefings following exposure to stressful events. Study 2 was a proof of concept study whereby resilience training was trialled. It demonstrated no shortcomings when individuals were exposed to a stressful event. Dr. Varka's third study involved a trial of resilience training for police in order to protect them against traumatic workplace events. This training was well tolerated and showed some benefits at a 6-month follow-up compared to training as usual. Dr. Varka's research has both theoretical and practical importance in developing protocols to avoid post-traumatic stress disorder and depression following harrowing events. Councillor, I present to you Dr. Tracy Varka for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Councillor, that concludes the awards for the Faculty of Life and Social Sciences. I now call upon Mr. Jackson Mussett, who graduated today with the Bachelor of Design in Honours in Communication Design, to speak on behalf of the graduates.
Councillor, members of the University Council, distinguished guests, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I'd firstly like to thank Swinburne for giving me this opportunity to thank and acknowledge those people who have helped all of us, the students, achieve what we have here today. On behalf of the students graduating today, I'd like to thank the staff of the university for the friendly assistance, support and guidance they have provided us throughout the years of study. We appreciate all you've done for us. While the experience of studying at Swinburne may have at times been challenging, it has also been very enjoyable, rewarding and memorable. We will all take with us skills and knowledge that will assist us in future endeavours. For all of us, this is a very proud moment and something we've worked towards for a very long time. We are very proud to be here in front of you now, celebrating our success. I'd now like to take this opportunity to thank, most importantly, all of our friends and families for their support during our studies. You've been there from the beginning, you've shared the same goals and kept us focused, so we thank you. And we're very honoured to have you here today sharing this moment with us. And finally, may we have every success in whatever we do now, whether it be developing a career or continuing with our studies. Whatever we go on to do, I'm sure the knowledge, experience and friendships we've gained during our studies will help us whichever path we choose. Well done and good luck.
Thank you, Jackson. To Swinburne graduates, I know that today is the culmination of years of hard work and that during this time you have had the encouragement and help of family and friends, so many of whom have come today from many parts of Australia, indeed from across the world, to see you graduate. On yours and the university's behalf, I wish to thank them for their support of your studies at Swinburne. I'm sure that they, like us, are very proud of all that you have achieved. Graduates, please stand. I'd like you to turn and face your family and friends and join me in a round of applause to say thank you to those who have helped you achieve your award. Thank you very much. If you could resume your seats, please. I also wish to take this opportunity to thank the teaching and administrative staff for their contribution to your education at Swinburne. Would all the staff please rise, either on the stage or if there are any in the audience? Thank you. Graduates, would you please join me in a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you. Graduates, I trust that you will consider that this is the beginning of a lifelong association with Swinburne. Education is a continuing process, and I hope that many of you will return to Swinburne to further your studies. I would also encourage you to participate in the activities of Swinburne's Alumni Association. The Alumni Association has groups in many different parts of the world. So even if you're leaving Melbourne, that does not have to mean an end to your participation in Swinburne activities. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all the members of Swinburne, I offer our congratulations to all who have received an award today. This concludes the formal part of the Swinburne Graduation and Conferral Awards.
On behalf of the members of Council and the university community, I invite you to join us for refreshments, which will be served in the Chandelier Room. Would you now please stand while the official party, academic procession and procession of graduates leave the hall.